Welcome to the Communities of Character podcast, the show that shares rich conversation about character development across different vocations and callings. I'm Jennifer Hogan, and today we're continuing our series on the 11 Principles Framework from character.org. And on today's episode, you'll get to hear from a principal who is extremely passionate about engaging her students and teachers in implementing character education initiatives. Earon Sheats will share tons of ideas with you on this episode, along with some great book recommendations. You're going to thoroughly enjoy today's episode with Principal Earon Sheats. Hello, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of the Communities of Character podcast, a place where you can learn about all things character. I'm your host, Jennifer Hogan, and today we'll be talking about Principle 8 of the 11 Principles Framework from character.org. And on today's episode, you'll get to hear from a principal who's passionate and about engaging students and teachers in best practices with regards to academic instruction and character education. I'm delighted to have Earon Sheats on today's show. Welcome, Earon.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, Earon, for our listeners who may not be familiar with you, please share a bit about your current context.
I'm currently the principal of Hartselle Intermediate School, and we are a 5-6 school located in Hartselle, Alabama. We're passionate about empowering and engaging students and our teachers in best practice. And I think you mentioned it not only in the academic stance, but also from the character point of view, that character is not just one more thing on our plate. It is the plate. It's the foundation of everything we do. And so not only that, but as we're preparing students, we learn by doing, putting the action, putting the feet to it. And so our little motto we say is follow the Tiger way and watch what we do to see what we believe.
I love your school's motto, watch what we do to see what we believe. How rooted in your climate and culture is that motto?
You know, every day we start, even though we have a secondary schedule, we try to start with a pledge or a moment where we rally together in a common voice and a common theme. And we have our Tiger Way pledge where we talk about, we believe hard work leads to success. You know, we're responsible for our choices and actions. We respect ourselves, others, and our environment. We show caring through service and kindness, and we choose to show integrity in all that we do. And it's very important to our students that as we say those words, that we truly are internalizing what we're saying, that we're not just robots saying a statement that we just learned to rehearse and memorize, but that we're truly walking those out in our action teams, in our goal setting for our student-led conferences, just in culture and climate-wise, you know, our teachers talking about as students walk down the hall, greeting them as they see them in the morning, our students that are late coming to school, our little passes. I know this may not be much, but sometimes it's the small things. Their little passes, we are so glad you're here. Oftentimes, oh great, you're late, not again. Just get here when you can. We try to get past some of those barriers and just say, hey, we're glad you're in the building. It's safe here. You're part of a family and a community of learners. And so, again, hopefully the things that we do, you know, you will be able to tell what we believe by those things that we implement day to day.
I love that. Well, would you share with our listeners, Earon, how you got involved in character education?
Well, this is my third year as principal of Hartselle Intermediate School, and I know prior to the year before I came in 2019, our teachers and our staff had partnered with the Hope Institute, and they had collaborated on what they felt like were the foundational pieces that our students could rally towards, and our pyramid was created. And so once I came into the role I'm in, we continued with our partnership with Hope Institute. Of course, we had COVID that happened, so that limited our face-to-face opportunities, but we still rallied with our character team. And I was personally able to hear Drayton Neighbors speak for the first time at Stanford University. And, you know, before this moment, you know, hearing of character education, you think it's a class or it's an advisory period. But we truly, you know, hearing the vision of the Hope Institute, it challenged me and our team to think differently. And so therefore that we have our character team that helps us implement things throughout the school. We have our Tiger Way leadership teams where students can take the lead. And we truly believe in that vision that was cast of creating a culture of character, not just something that we do in a short class period.
Wow, that's very impactful. Well, later we're going to go into depth about Principle 8 of the 11 Principles Framework, and I know that the framework is used by the Hope Institute. Tell us, how has the 11 Principles Framework served you in your work around character education?
Well, oftentimes people look for a program, and we believe in our teachers. And the thing I love about the principles is they are, I won't say common sense ideas, but I really feel like they take us back to our why. They take us back to our purpose. It influences everything we do and everyone we speak to. Currently, I'm working on the master schedule for next year. I have been for a couple of months, actually. And so our master schedule is affected because, we believe in having that undevoted, that solely devoted time with our students. So we have that daily tiger time is what we call it. And basically what that is our homeroom class. We run a 7-period day, but our homeroom class and our 4th period class where they eat lunch, that is the same group of kids. So it gives our teachers an opportunity to really to get to know those students and invest in them, and have that daily communication. Our character team created a toolkit, and of course that's shared through Google Drive, a drive that we share with all of our teachers. And it has opportunities where, for different lessons, different teachers add those lessons to a calendar. And so it gives our teachers the honor and the pedagogy to choose what's best for their class. But it's all built around the same topic or the same part of that trait or the traits for the pyramid that we're working on for that month. And so it could be a blog that the students read. It could be a little short video with discussion questions. It could be a team building activity. But we try to rally the students around a common theme each month. Again, just to show how we use it, how we model it as adults. If we even take this to our community activities, our action teams, and we can talk more about that, but even we bring in our student-led conferences where we have our students take the lead in their learning and tell about portfolios and the things, their character goals. We have character setting goals for them. But the principles basically help us come back to the why, help us reflect and decide how we can feed forward for the following year to make it even better.
What great ideas. Well, Principle 8 is about school staff being involved in learning about and discussing and taking responsibility for character education initiatives. Tell us, how has your school created this learning community where staff members are committed to character development and share that responsibility?
Well, first of all, I believe you need to involve them in the process. We're not a top-down leadership. I'm not a micromanager in my leadership style. I believe that there comes a point in place where, if they're in the ones that are in the classrooms doing most of the work, we're in there too, supporting them and giving them the resources they need. But they're in the lead in that seat, so I want to make sure their voice is heard, that we get their ideas, that we collaborate on those pieces. So number one, you got to have time to hear their voice and time for them to collaborate. Early in our design phase, and again, this happened. We used the book Inch and Miles by Wooten, and that pyramid to success inspired us to create a pyramid of success with our character pieces there. And so every faculty member, we gave them a copy of the book. We discussed, we talked about how we model and reinforce those traits. And again, they contributed to what those traits would be. We didn't, from top-down leadership, just decide, okay, this is what we're going to do. It was a jigsaw sort of activity where we allow them to come back with what's important to them. And the philosophy, we continue to reinforce those traits. And even this year, we talked about how, in November, we talked about moving our service piece there, or moving our kindness piece to when it's World Kindness Week. We want to make sure that we are not just doing something to do it, but there's a common purpose there. So if our world is already recognizing a kindness week, which is awesome, and making kindness the normal, then let's have that natural conversation with the students during that time frame. So we may swap our pyramid a little bit around, but that's part of just refining each year and making it better.
Love that. Well, the book that you mentioned, I'll be sure to link in the show notes for all of our listeners. that we may have listeners who want to check that out. And you mentioned working on the school schedule for a couple of months now. And character.org says that adults grow in character by working collaboratively, like sharing best practices and participating in the decision making. So how do you and your school make time for this to happen, for your adults to have time for that?
Well, we do something similar to the Ron Clark Academy. You know, we have our house system. We call them teams, and they are from our character traits. So we have team hard work, team integrity, team kind, and team grit. Those teachers work very closely together throughout the year and have a lot of voice and choice on what they do as leaders. Again, I asked them to do at the beginning of the year, before we even get started, you know, what operational team in the school would you like to be a part of? And what academic team would you like to be a part of? So when people have voice and choice, they're more vested. The buy-in is there because they're passionate about what they're doing. So as we get our teachers in the place in the seat on the bus, so to speak, where they need to be leadership-wise, then that helps grow our students. So then on the student side, you know, we have a teacher, a sponsor of a leadership team. And so students can be a part. We have a student character team. We have a Tiger Voice team. You know, that'd be similar to what our old school would be student council. But we meet with those teams, our kindness agents, many more. I could go on, where we say, okay, what do you want in your school? What do you see in your school? And we ask that of our teachers and students in order to improve our campus, to improve our activities, to find a place that everybody wants to be. And I've heard it stated that where kids are running to get in, not running to get out. And, you know, it's initiated by our students. And so, you know, we have a lot of service-oriented teams. We have Pizza with the Principal there again, where they can share their thoughts and turn those into action teams. Because to me, that is the change. We can talk all day long, but we vote with our feet. And so, you know, we've had several places where our students have led that initiative. Our outdoor courtyard area, our students led that piece, raised money for refilling stations that they wanted to protect the environment and lower the amount of plastic. So they said, let's raise some money for refilling stations. We also had, I know this is somewhat, in some people's mind maybe trivial, but we had some fifth grade students coming in. Our building was originally created for grades 6, 7, and 8. Many, many years ago. And so some of our restrooms and our boys' restrooms didn't have partitions between the urinals. So in our Pizza with the Principal, I had a student, you know, come to me and say, hey, can we build some partitions and put these up to help students feel more comfortable? And we jumped on it. We created an action team. Our agri-science students created the partitions and they mounted the partitions in the restrooms. So it's those kind of moments where you see a need and meet it. And that's what we want our teachers and our students to do.
Kudos to you as the leader for modeling that, placing the importance on student voice. And I heard you say not only student voice, but also teacher voice. And sounds like a school that students aren't just running to get in the school, but your teachers are too. And I so appreciate your leadership in that area, especially character education. And I'd love to hear like what your professional development opportunities are like, and also specifically how you teach and train your new teachers so that they can be a part of the culture of character at your school and have immediate impact there.
Right. Well, you know, I've always heard it said, and it's probably by one of the great people, you know, all the reading and blogs and Twitter followers out there, but, you know, you hire great people and you grow the ones you have. That's how you build strong culture. And so as we hire great people, you want to make sure there's a net. You know, there's a net to keep them so that you don't misplace or lose or are unable to retain them, grow them in their craft. And so one thing we do before the school year starts is we have Camp Tiger Way. And Camp Tiger Way is an opportunity for us all just to refocus on those principles, analyze and look at our data, our surveys from our parents or stakeholders, from our teachers on how we can improve teaching and learning in the area of character. And so we may have a guest speaker, we may break out in groups, we may have a short little, you know, mini book study. This year we were doing Kids Deserve It by Todd Nessaloni, and that's been a really great relational piece of bringing out those opportunities for teachers to connect to their students. But the Camp Tiger Way, again, just brings us all back to our core. and why we do what we do. So we hit the character piece, but we also hit the academic piece. And then inside of that, we believe in attitude and atmosphere, and giving our new members a taste of what it means to follow the Tiger Way. We believe in mentorship, and not only in paper, but in time. So I will provide coverage, sub-coverage for our teachers to be able to mentor one another, mentor our new teachers, and make sure that on my end that they get the resources they need. If that's, hard copies, or if that's money, or if that's furniture, or if that's, different seating or space, whatever it looks like, that we move mountains so that our teachers can move mountains in the hearts and lives of our students.
Love that. Well, I'll be sure to link Todd's book in our show notes. That is a great book, and a great leader, and someone really inspirational to learn from. But with the culture of character at your school, has it helped your school in terms of morale and other things as we've been trying to navigate through the pandemic? And if yes, would you share with us how it's helped your school?
Well, I truly believe, yes, most definitely. Our culture of character, we focus on relationships, and I think our team's approach, or the house system type approach, really helps them to rally together. We've leaned in on these relationships the last few years. Just to give you one example, I know everybody pretty much had to go online there for a while, and even as teachers, our teachers would become ill or become sick, and so our partner teachers that are with our teams would jump in and record lessons and share that with both houses, so that the other house, if they were missing a math teacher, that those students would still get the quality instruction that they were getting in one of the other houses, to make sure that students have equitable opportunities to learn and to be successful with our standards. Again, I go back to everyone's willing to see a need and meet it, and it's so encouraging to see them come together. I know we can make statements about where we rank and what our accolades are, but Niche did say we were in the top 4% academically in the state of Alabama, and we were the number 2 seat in best teachers and staff for middle schools in the state. So we don't take that lightly. We take that as an honor, and it's something, again, you watch what we do to see what we believe.
Oh, I love that. And congratulations to y'all on that. I've just really enjoyed learning more about you and your school's journey today. And as we wrap up today's interview, Earon, do you have a book or a podcast recommendation to share with our listeners that you found to be impactful on your character education journey?
Growing up, I didn't really enjoy reading. I was more of a math girl, but I know, readers, and the more you read, I think it affects your leadership. And in the area of character, I've really enjoyed reading the book Character Matters by Thomas Lacona.
Mm-hmm.
And it has strategies that work. He puts handles on things to make it easy to implement in the halls. One area we did, I know that's a part of every leader's role, but we look at how we can positively impact those situations, and we have our Tiger Way reflection. We know, again, all behavior is communication, but sometimes students need to reflect, just like teachers do, on what choices they made. Is this following the Tiger Way? What would I do different next time? We also another strategy that was in there was mediation, peer mediation, and we help our students realize that they can independently help one another to solve problems and develop good judgment, and not just have to run to an adult at all times. Jimmy Casas is also a favorite author of mine. Culture Oz, I know he wrote Live Your Excellence. I really have stemmed a lot of our PD and conversation from that. Kara Nollmeyer, I know she's an up-and-coming author. Unleash Talent, that's a good one. Helping students take the lead. It's scary to release the reins and let students lead, but who knows better than our students? And so Twitter is a go-to. So any of those areas, I would highly encourage your listeners to reach out and use those resources.
Those are great recommendations from some great people. I'm with you. I love Twitter. I love learning on Twitter, and our listeners may want to reach out to you for more information about what we've discussed today. What are the best ways for our listeners to connect with you?
Yes, you can follow me at Earon Sheats. I know my spelling is different, so you can hopefully find that in the title. You can connect to our school and see the amazing things that we're doing on campus at HIS Tigers 56 or on Instagram, Hartselle_Intermediate. Of course, our website and Facebook, you could Google that too, Hartselle Intermediate School, and I'm sure those would also be available to you.
That's great. And that's lots of ways for our listeners to connect with you and to find out what's happening at your school. And I'll be sure to share all of those handles in our show notes for our listeners. And I just appreciate you being here today, Earon. I want to tell you how much I appreciate the work you lead and building cultures of character. And to our listeners, thank you for staying all the way through. I hope you got some great takeaways from today's discussion. Earon gave lots of ideas about what's happening in her school. And we always appreciate when you leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. Thanks again, everyone. Take care.